Hey everybody, this is Peter B, and welcome to another edition of Tobacco Card Tuesday. Today I'm going to do just a primer of 19th century cards. I know a lot of people in the YouTube community are scared to test the waters of pre-war cards. Well, I'm going to go a little bit further than that and try to get you acquainted with 19th century cards. They're not scary. They're very fun to collect, and unfortunately, they are a little pricey. But I'm going to show you my oldest one. I'm going to do in order. And this is my oldest one. It's not the oldest baseball card. That would be the 1869 Cincinnati Red team card. But this is my oldest, and in many people's collection, this is their oldest card. It can be found often on eBay. That's where I picked this up. But it's from 1878. Huntley and Palmer is a French company, and they made biscuits. Actually, they were also in England, but this card is in French. Because you can see it was issued at the Grand Prix de l'Exposition Universelle de Paris, 1878. So this was given out at the 1878 Paris World Fair, and that's why it's in French. I believe the actual biscuit company is English, and they did other sports and activities, and this is the American baseball game. So my oldest, 1878. Now we're going to go up to 1882. And this is the H804-11 Cossack and Company circle position cards. All the cards have the same format with the circle above, and each design is a different position. There are 10 cards. Now there is, I forget which one, either only a left fielder, which what I think it is, and no right fielder, or vice versa. There's a right fielder, no left fielder. The 9th card being the umpire, and the 10th card being the batter. What you're looking at is the second baseman. And they all have these cool designs. Notice no one's wearing gloves. Now, Marshall and Ball happened to be the person who used these for their advertising. And the backs too. These are cool cards, and I do have the whole set. I really enjoy these cards. And H means advertising cards in the card catalog. I want to show you one more. I really like the center fielder card. You can see the ball at the very top of the circle, and he's running back barehanded to make a great catch. And this one is Peck & Snyder Sporting Goods on the back. Okay, now we're going to move to, that was 1882. Now we're going to move to 1884. And this is the Lawson's playing card. It was a game, and you pick cards, and it tell you what you do, how to move your batters and runners and whatever. Different images. This one is the striker. And they all have that image, so either way you pick up the card, you would just read striker correctly. And all the, I guess, fronts of the cards look like this. You can see an old baseball game with people from the early 1880s watching. So this is the 1884 Lawson's playing card, one of them. Now we're going to move to 1886 to 90. The N172 Old Judge. And N stands for 19th century, as opposed to T206. The T is not tobacco, it's 20th century. This is a desired card. It's Art Whitney with dog, and it's the dog that makes it desirable. All the back of the cards look like this. I have a few Old Judge cards. Let me just show you a couple. There are many subsets. One of the subset in the cards is the champions, players from the St. Louis Browns. This is Arlie Latham. A couple of Hall of Famers to show you. This is Tim Keefe. And this is old Hoss Radburn. He's the one tagging the player out. And another desirable card is Dummy Hoy, the deaf center fielder in the 1880s. I have a bunch more, and they're pretty much just common players. They can run pricey for Hall of Famers. If you get a nice common player that has a real clear, sharp image, you're scoring a good one. Okay, now we're going to go to 1887. And this is the N for 19th century Buckner gold coin. These are generic bodies. Like many catchers would use this same pose. They tried to draw the faces as close as possible to the actual player. Some do look like them, others they don't. So you'd get the same exact image. The uniforms would be different depending on which team the player was on, and the face may be different, like may have a mustache or not have a mustache, things like that. Color hair. But they are still considered generic poses. And that's what the back looks like. Gold coin chewing tobacco. I have a few of these. I'll show you one more. This is second baseman Farrell. If you can get these, like the one I first showed, the catcher, it's kind of a boring image. If this was in the same condition as the catcher, I mean, you're gonna see a beautiful sunset sky and green grass. Unfortunately, this one's a little beat up, but hey, it's affordable, or somewhat affordable. So that's 1887 N284 Buckner gold coin. Now, another big and popular set are the N28s, Allen and Ginter. These were issued in tobacco packs. They're actually come from a Champion of Sports series, but Allen Ginter does have a few very famous baseball players in this set. And these are the two Boston guys, both Hall of Famers, Mike King Kelly and John Clarkson. He was the pitcher. Kelly was a catcher. The Allen and Ginter backs, no matter what series it comes from, pretty much looks like that. It's a checklist. And here's another one, probably the most desirable card in the set. And that's the Cap Anson. I love the mustache on him. So that's the 1887 N28 Allen and Ginter. Now we're going to stay in 1887. And this is the N184 Kimball champions. And just like the Allen and Ginter, they had champions of various sports. These guys only put in 4 baseball players, and 3 of the 4 are guys you never heard of. And this is one of them, a guy I never heard of. But it's cool because they have the real nice image on top, and they have a little field on the bottom. Each baseball player would have a different image on the bottom as well. Oh, sorry. And once again, similar to the Allen Ginter, there's a checklist. Staying on 1887, we're going to go to the H804-21. Remember H being trade cards. Now, this is actually a rectangular card, but someone decided to very carefully cut out the players, and they did such a good job. I like it. It looks like that they were die cut and were supposed to be that way, but no, this is someone's handiwork. There's actually a full square rectangular card with a background, and these were, cartoon figures, but they represented real players, but didn't look anything like them. Like this looks like Tim Keefe, who I showed you earlier in a Old Judge. That was his actual photo. This is a generic player or comic player that has the name Tim Keefe. And I also got King Kelly. Once again, it's a comic card. They just put a name on it. And I also got Cap Anson. And once again, it looks nothing like that Allen and Ginter card. This is just a comic card that happens to have the guy's name on it. So I don't have the full set. I got more cards, but not the full set. But I do got these big ones I just showed you. Now we're going to go to 1888. And we're going to look at in my opinion, the most beautiful baseball cards ever made. And this is the N162 Goodwin Champions. And just like the Allen and Ginter and the Kimballs, they did champions of various sport. And they did some baseball players, and there were famous baseball players. And Orlando from Collector's Dream is always showing his. And his is actually the best set in existence. And those are just gorgeous cards. I just have 2 baseball players. I do have some other sports, but just 2 baseball players. And this is Jack Glasscock, who could someday be in the Hall of Fame. He was a shortstop. But once again, look at the bare hands. And he was the Ozzie Smith in his day with no glove. And just like the other ones, checklist on the back. And I also got Carruthers, a pitcher from Brooklyn. Staying on 1888, this is the N321 SF Hess card. And this is Big Smith from the California League, which was pre-Pacific Coast League. Never played in the majors, but he was a slugger in the California League. And these are very hard to come by. And Mookie Chilson will be very proud because there's a pinhole on top and a pinhole on the bottom. Blank back. But it's the N321 SF Hess. All nicely colored images that look like the player. And that's Big Smith. Okay, 1888. A scrap tobacco card of James Tip O'Neill. He is from Canada, and he is in the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame. These are die-cut cards. They were originally thought to come in packages of scrap tobacco. That's why they were called scraps. But it was later found out fairly recently that they actually came from chewing gum. So they could be the very first chewing gum cards. And there are Hall of Famers, and this is kind of a pricey set. Hard to find. Still in 1888. This is the RNS Artistic Series. These came die cut. There were many players on a sheet already cut out, just held together by little tabs that you would cut off. Truly generic players. And it's basically showing the team uniform. So this is the Philadelphia, I believe they're called the Quakers. And that's what the uniform would look like. And this is Chicago. This would be the Chicago White Stockings. And this is Boston, who would be the Boston Bean Eaters. So, nice little generic series from 1888, and I do have the whole set. Okay, still on 1888. Another playing card. And this is the WG1. This is Hall of Famer Ward from New York. He played shortstop. You can see there's a queen of, what is it, diamonds? And the front of the cards would look like this. And once again, it was a game. I don't know if you use that image of the card, or I don't see any head out or anything, so it just must be the image of the card is how you played. But they did use real players, many Hall of Famers. And it looks generic, but it does sort of look like Ward. Okay, 1888 to 1889. I showed you the N172 Old Judges, and this is the N173. It's a biggie. It's the Old Judge Cabinet card. N173. So this is a big cabinet card. And it would say Old Judge on the bottom, but unfortunately someone trimmed it, which made it more affordable, which means I could buy it, but I wish it wasn't trimmed and still had the Old Judge advertising. This is the N173 from 88, 89. Okay, 1989. Back to Allen and Ginter. We showed the N28, now this is the N29. Once again, it's a champion set. They did a couple of baseball players, no one really of importance. And this is George Miller of Pittsburgh. And once again, it has that Allen and Ginter checklist. Where's the baseball players? There we go. Baseball players. Miller, Ryan, Buck Ewing, they did. Yeah, and I don't know, I guess I need new glasses, but there is Buck Ewing, so he would be the biggest in this series. 1889. Another 1889. I'm sorry. We're up to 1893. We're in the 90s now. And this is the Arbuckle coffee card. And I actually bought this off of Dan at Old Sarge Collects. I always wanted this card. It's a trade card. And Dan was selling his copy, so I bought it. This is a set of different countries' sports. This is the United States. And it has various sports on it. You can see it has sailing, the America's Cup, fishing, circuses, I don't know how that got in there. Bicycling with those big, huge front wheel bikes. There's baseball in the background. That's why it's considered a baseball card. And that little box is actually a camera, so photography. And the back, it's Arbuckle Coffee. So first of all, it explains about the coffee on the left, and then about all the sports in the United States. And like I said, they would all do different countries. There's a few of these cards. This, of course, is the most expensive, but you can get other countries fairly cheap. And this is a trade card. Now we're going to go all the way up to 1895 with the N300 Mayo. It's actually Mayo cut plug. It was chewing tobacco. You can also roll it in cigarettes. I believe this was issued in a little tin container of loose tobacco. Mayo cut plug tobacco. All the backs are just like that. A blank back, blank black back. And I got a few of the Boston players. This is Hall of Famer Hugh Duffy. I'll show you one more Boston. This is Billy Nash. And one non-Boston. Arlie Latham again. So that's all the ones where we know the actual date. And most of them actually has a card collector catalog number now. That still leaves a bunch of 19th century cards. Mostly Victorian trade cards. Most of them are cartoon drawings. If you get one that have more lifelike images, just jack up the price. These are fairly common on eBay. The ones that have more lifelike drawings, they can be pretty expensive and pretty rare. But this is, like I said, the H80415, actually 15A, called the Red Stripe set because it's surrounded by a little red stripe. Different businesses would advertise. This one happens to be Boston Clothing Company. And then this little cartoon, this is the picture. And he's asking the batter, where do you want it? In those days, the batter can call for a high ball, up around his chest, or a low ball down around his knees. And the pitcher would have to put it in that area. So he's asking the batter, where do you want it? This has a cool Boston Clothing ad on the back. And I have a couple from this set. This is Home Run. This is from another clothing company in Taunton, Massachusetts. And this is the 804-26. Pretty much the same cards, just bigger. You see the 15 versus the 26. This is another clothing company from Rome, New York. This is a blank back, or the ads covered up or removed when they took it out of the scrapbook, but it does show advertising on the front. Notice the catcher at this point They would wear those gloves, and they do have chest protectors and face masks at this point. But once again, the shin pads didn't come until later. This is H, and all these are from the 1880s. They don't know the exact year. The two I showed you and the last two I'm going to show you. This is the H804-10. There would be different positions. This is the shortstop. And once again, it's a cartoon. And shortstop being drilled by the ball in the gut, knocking his hat off. And I picked this one up because it says Misfit Parlors, like the Misfit, John Mangini's Misfits, Rick, and all the other guys. This is from Boston. Misfit Parlors. And then it says, what are Misfits? Well, you can buy them at Misfit Parlors in Boston. And then the last one doesn't have any catalog number, and they don't know the exact year. It's a cartoon, and it's called Grab the Ball, Jimmy. And it's sort of like foreshadowing of The Sandlot. I mean, there's the ball within reach of the chained, mean, nasty dog. And there's poor Jimmy. Even if he knows if he reaches for the ball, the dog's gonna bite his hand. And that kid in the fence, on the other side of the fence, yelling, grab the ball, Jimmy. This is, I guess, a goods store, generic store from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So that's the last one. Sometime in the 1880s. So, unfortunately, these cards... Oh, well, I want to show you one other thing. Sorry, I forgot about this. I believe I have a Goodwin Old Judge box. You know, the ones the Old Judge came out of. It's kind of boring, and I couldn't find it. But I also got this Dog's Head cigarette pack that cards came out of. There's the sister cigarette to the Old Judge, and they were both made by Goodwin and Company. And this is a cool box, Dog's Head cigarettes. And there's an N172, Paul Hines. So I hope I introduced you to 19th century cards. The cards themselves, unless you get some generic player with a little bit of damage, are otherwise you're going to be pricey for a Hall of Famer. But you can get those trade cards, especially the ones with comics. They're available on eBay all the time, and I mean, they're a little bit expensive, but they're not bad. So, everybody, I went way longer than I thought this was going to be. And if you're still with me, thank you very much. And have a terrific Tobacco Card Tuesday.